Penguin Random House Audio presents The Lost Wife, a novel by Susanna Moore, read for you by Sophie Amoss. For Jasper. June 1855. I pretended to be asleep until Ank left the room. Florence was with Ank's sister Viola in Kingstown, and the house was quiet. When I could hear Ank in the shop, I jumped from bed and dressed, stuffing 2 books, a penknife, a dress, a salami, a moth-eaten tartan cape, and Maddie's letters into a cardboard suitcase. The letters are 2 years old, but I have read them so many times, I know every word by heart. She says there is work to be had in the West. Not just saloon girl work like in the penny weeklies, but work you wouldn't be ashamed to do. I wonder if she will be surprised to see me, surprised to see I am alone. She never believed I would do it. I counted the money I had saved, which came to $42. I kept $30 for myself and wrapped the rest in a piece of butcher's paper, sealed it in an envelope, and addressed it. When I heard Mr. Lombardi in the alley, I invited him into the kitchen for coffee. He delivers a supply of colored glass stones to the shop on the last Monday of the month, and I was expecting him. I told him I needed to get to Boston, where my sister was ill. I have no sister, but he did not know that. If he would take me to the Fox Point station when he left, I could catch the afternoon train to Boston. When he agreed, I asked him not to tell Ank. I said I had been forbidden to see my sister as she lived in sin with another woman. It was the worst lie I could devise. My wrist is bandaged where my husband burned me with the soldering flame, and I saw Mr. Lombardi glance at it, but he said nothing. He knew Ank did it. Everyone in our street knows Ank likes to hurt me. Viola knows. My mother knew, although she never did anything to stop it. "It is only what you deserve," she said. "Anyone with the name Aniktosh cannot be a proper Christian, and has to be a foreigner, maybe even a Greek, or worse, a Turk." How she determined that Greeks are not Christians is a mystery, but there is a long list of mysteries where my mother is concerned. Who, for instance, is my father? She refused to tell me. Maybe he, too, is Greek, which would account for my black eyes and hair, and the faint line of fuzz above my lip. She believed that during conception, the partner who had the strongest orgasm determined the looks of the child, which suggests that my father is Greek after all, or a Turk, and that she is as cold as ice. But I knew that. I met Mr. Lombardi on Eddy Street, as he had planned. It was raining and we were soon wet through, despite the tarp he threw over us. He had a pint of whiskey in his pocket, and now and then took a drink, but he did not offer me any. He dropped me at the Fox Point station, and I again reminded him that he was not to tell anyone he had seen me. When he handed down my suitcase, he slipped a $50 into my hand, which caused me to wonder if he believed my story after all. As I watched him turn the corner, I told myself that everything that happened from then on would be a sign. Even the rain was a sign. It would erase my footprints. I mailed the envelope and ran into the station. I arrived too late to catch the train to Albany and spent the night in the waiting room. I thought the porters who wandered in and out might not like it if I sat on one of their benches in wet clothes, so I walked in circles to keep warm, eating the salami and shaking with cold. Every time a man came through the door, I was certain it was Ank, and hid my face in my sleeve, but no one bothered me, except for one man, who asked if I was free for the evening. I read Maddie's instructions for the 100th time. Once I reach Albany, I will board an Erie Canal packet boat, which will get me as far as Buffalo. In Buffalo, I am to take a lake steamer to Chicago. The fare and steerage will be $3. In Chicago, I am to find a place on a wagon traveling to a port on the Mississippi River called Galena, then another steamboat from Galena to the town of Shakopee, Minnesota. where Maddie will be waiting for me. I must have fallen asleep on the train to Albany, as I don't remember leaving Boston. I was nudged awake by the conductor, surprised to see wheat fields and cows and barns. I asked if he knew how I might find the Erie Canal Navigation Company in Albany, which he said was a 15-minute walk from the station. I made my way there as soon as we arrived, and bought a ticket on what is called a line boat, departing in an hour. It is 60 feet long and 10 feet wide, and used mainly for freight, which, the clerk warned me, meant not as select a company as I would find on a packet boat. As it is drawn by mules rather than horses, it is slower, but it is also cheaper. I am paying 1 cent a mile, which comes to $3.90. It will take 5 days to reach Buffalo. I used Mr. Lombardi's $50 to buy peanuts and a ham sandwich and a bottle of cider, reckoning it an unexpected treat, and ate the peanuts while I waited on the landing. Alongside me was an elderly woman holding a small gilded cage with a white rabbit in it. Also a minister who asked if he might preach to us from the Bible. I didn't know how I could refuse and said nothing, but the woman with the rabbit said, "I'd prefer not. I'm given to seizures." It is my second day on the line boat. I sit on a 3-legged stool on the roof of the main cabin. There are 2 spindly chairs in the bow, occupied by the old lady and her rabbit. Barrels and crates line each side of the boat. I sleep below decks on a sacking mattress. The others sleep on cots packed into the main cabin at night, the men separated from the women by a serge curtain strung on a sagging wire. I feel unaccountably pleased with myself. I haven't felt this way in a long time, maybe never. I am on my way to Buffalo. No one has clapped his hands around my neck or burned me. Except for Mr. Lombardi, I haven't told a lie in days. Now and then I am frightened by my freedom, wondering what I am meant to do with it. In the past, that is a week ago, it was a relief when things remained merely themselves. One of the boatmen, a slight Irish boy, high-shouldered and bony, with a chipped front tooth, saw that I had no dinner last night, and told me that I could eat each evening in the main cabin, provided I pay for it. "It will cost you 20 cents, he said, taking a certain pride in what seemed to him an exorbitance. Tonight I sat at a long communal table with the boatman and the old woman, and ate baked beans and pork and green tomatoes. No one spoke, which was fine with me. Later, when I opened my suitcase, I saw that my penknife was missing. The boy's name is Dennis. He told me he was an orphan with a sister in a convent in Ottawa, which did not surprise me as I'd learned at Dexter to spot an orphan a mile away. He has a tin whistle, a Doolin whistle, he says, and when the teasing by his fellow hands goes too far, the outline of a large crucifix is clearly visible beneath his shirt. He plays his whistle until they settle down. When he saw a book in my lap, he said he was teaching himself to read, and asked if he could borrow it from me. I gave him Ivanhoe, as I had finished it that morning, and did not wish to carry it. He returned half an hour later, having noticed it was a library book, to ask if he was breaking the law, as the book was long overdue, but I assured him it would be all right. When my hat blew away, he gave me his neckerchief to wear around my head. Last night, I dreamed that Florence and I lived in Nova Scotia, and this morning, I almost jumped from the boat to find my way home, even though I know Hank would kill me. I neglected to bring certain necessities in my haste. Not only food, but the means to wash myself. When I began to bleed, I had nothing to put between my legs. Dennis must have seen the blood on my skirt, but he said nothing, handing me a few dirty dishcloths with the tips of his fingers, as if I had already soiled them. He sits on the deck beside my chair when we stop for the night to practice his letters on the end papers of Ivanhoe. I suspect that he would like to visit me.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?